Joining me live now, Independent Senator Jacqui Lambie for her thoughts on some of this. First of all, let's start with daily rapid testing. Senator, good to see you for a new year, by the way. Is this something that you would support?
Well, we don't have a choice because there isn't enough of them in the country.
True.
I think we've all worked that out, mate. There's no doubt about that. So certainly the supplies that we do have need to go to those first responders. They need to go maybe to the childcare centres, maybe the school's about to open up very shortly. Do they need to go through the schools? That sort of thing. But bottom line is, we never had enough, and this is why we're in the predicament that we are. So. You know, I'm Pete, and then you have the other side of it. You know, I went back out Boxing Day. I've been around Tasmania a fair bit, and I've just been hearing the sentiment on the ground. And I've got no sick days left. I don't want one of those tests anyway. I don't feel sick. I've got a bit of a sniffles. I've got bills to pay. I've got bills to pay. I've got to go to work. So this is unravelling very, very quickly. So it is very concerning, and then we've got our kids starting school back in the next 2 to 4 weeks. We don't go back until sort of later than most of the other states. And I know that our Premier down here's got on the front foot before Christmas time and certainly got those air ventilators or whatever go in those classrooms. But even if there would not be enough in this country to order every classroom in the country one of those either. So I tell you, we're walking through this blindfolded now. That's how I feel.
After all the warnings
we have the COVID
too.
committee tomorrow afternoon.
Sorry, Senator. After all the warnings too with the early delays in vaccination. I mean, you make a good point there. I mean, after all this time, we're effectively having to ration the rat tests that are available, aren't we?
Yep. Yeah, we are. But what's even more frightening is our kids aren't double vaccinated and they're heading back to school. And we're not far behind other countries in watching what's happening in them. It's like I think there'll be many parents out there that are starting to really feel the heat and be extremely worried about how that's going to look in the next 4 to 6 weeks with these kids going back to school and not having those anti-rapid testing enough to be in those classrooms, especially for those kids either. So, geez, I tell you, I nearly feel like we're rolling the dice or playing Russian roulette here, unless the Prime Minister knows something that the rest of us don't.
Well, the New South Wales government has put its own orders in. It's got about 100 million on the way to provide rapid testing for students twice a week. That's the plan at this stage anyway. On the point of isolation, how do you feel about dropping it from 7 to 5 days? That brings us in line, and that's for positive people, brings us in line with the US and the UK.
Yeah, I think because we never had enough of those rapid anti-tests. Like I said, the problem is a lot of people don't have sick leave left. They don't have any of that left. They've got bills to pay, put bread and milk on the table. They're just like, if they've got a sniffle, they're now treating it like the flu. That's where we're going to. So they're going to work. So that's where we're at right now. Bringing it down to 5 days. The people that have obviously caught it, I know there's been some people got very, very sick. Most people that are talking to me back at work said actually it was nearly like having the flu. I was quite not feeling well for a day or two, and then I was back on my feet again. So, you know, I think it's just, like I said, it's fine. The adults can look after themselves, but I think a lot of people on the streets are saying to me, our kids have got to go back to school. Are the air filters all going to be in the classrooms? What are we doing to make sure that we can keep them as safe as possible? And like I said, our Premier's already on the front foot with that before Christmas time. But if you had to get all those in every classroom, we do not have enough in the country to do that. Yeah,
I mean, opening up the windows in Tassie in the middle of winter, that's not going to be too comfortable for some students, is it?
Well, it's not so much that, but can you imagine the heat, you know, especially when you've got heat and you've got the air conditioners, if you haven't got air conditioning and that going, not so much here in Tasmania, even though we've had a lovely summer, you know, it gets very musty very, very quick and it gets very stale. So that's going to be a problem.
Just a final one, Senator, on Victoria. It wants to mandate the third jab and change the definition for 3 jabs to now achieve full vaccination. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you would support?
I think that I haven't heard that out of the Premier's mouth himself. That's playing in the newspapers. There is people now already been lining up over the last few months to get those booster shots. My first question is, do we have enough boosters in the country to do that, or will we in the future? Certainly for me, I don't have an issue with it. I live with my father, and I've also got to travel, so I'll be lining up to have my booster shot. But I think those people that are miles in front of the rest of us that are already 6 or 8 weeks ahead with their booster shot, will be able to see some of those results over the next 4 to 6 weeks to see how that's working. I know that people are sort of living in fear about all this and the fear-mongering and that's going on. They're isolating in their own homes when they don't really need to, which is quite scary. So I think we need to be really, really, really careful here that if we do need booster shots, just make some normality about it instead of scaring the bejesus out of people, which is not helping their mental health, which is very worrying. So, look, I'll be like many others. If we've got to line up and have those booster shots, no worries. But calling it mandatory right now, I think is a little bit early off the mark.
Okay, Jacqui Lambie, good to see you. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for your time.